So the Trump administration is releasing a new plan that would allow children to be held in detention indefinitely with their parents. So that is the new plan. Now, right now, they can't actually do that because the government operates under the Flores settlement. The Flores settlement basically stipulates that children cannot be detained for more than 20 days. So Republicans hate that rule. They think, Flores settlement. No, I want to keep these people in prison, in jail indefinitely for crossing the border illegally or being asylum seekers. Doesn't matter. You cross the border, we're going to put you in jail, and we want to keep you in jail. Now, of course, they tried to do that as a deterrent, but thanks to the Flores settlement, they had to separate the families. So that led, of course, to the crisis of family separation, and we all know what happened in that. Federal judges said you can't actually keep them in prison. You've got to reunite these families. Now, despite that, the Trump administration, there's over 500 families right now that have not been reunited. Their parents are just gone. So when they go, you know, the kids are still there. Their kids are still in custody. They're now considered unaccompanied minors because they deported their parents already. Sorry, kid, we don't know where your parents are at. And for some of the ones that have been actually reunited, it's been nothing but heartbreaking scenes. Some kids are mad at their parents. Some kids don't even know who their parents are. So that's the legacy of this. And now the administration, the Trump administration, their solution to this is now to allow children to be put into jail indefinitely with their parents. Wow. Now let me have some, let me get into more details about how they're going to sidestep this rule. The administration is proposing a regulation that would replace the Flores settlement, which is basically an agreement that we don't put people in jail or put children in jail with their parents for over 20 days. Now, on Friday, the Departments of Homeland Security and Health and Human Services will officially publish a draft of the new regulation. That's today, so that should be coming out fairly soon. Now, here's what that proposed regulation would actually do. It would tighten the standards for releasing migrant children from detention. Right now, most adults who arrive in the U.S., according to Vox, without legal status have to be kept in immigrant detention while they're put through expedited deportation proceedings. Asylum seekers are allowed to be released into the U.S. while they fight their asylum case, but only after they've passed a preliminary credible fear screening. Now, that could take weeks. Now, the reason that they're doing that, by the way, is that you hear a lot of conservative arguments like, oh, no, we can't just let them go because none of them are returned to court. And they just go into the country illegally and then they go and take your jobs. No, that's not what happens. 80% of these cases, people come back. Oh, well, what about the 20%? Well, then you figure out a way to track them better. You don't just keep them in jail indefinitely. That's not how you solve this problem. But they're not interested in solving the problem, as I'm going to get to later. Now, there's more. Now, here's the thing. So Judge Dolly G, who is the judge that basically oversees the Flores settlement. So she was one of the deciding votes. Now, she interpreted it to mean that the government had discretion to release children from custody and ordered DHS to make a continuous effort to release children from immigration custody, even if they were with their parents. So she said, look, I don't want these people in jail. I don't want these families in jail together. We should release them. We should at least release the children. No, they're not interested in that. The new proposal holds everyone in DHS custody, children and parents alike, to the same standard that is more restrictive. Children deemed unaccompanied will still be sent to the Department of Health and Human Services, to be sent God knows where, but children arriving with their parents will be detained for as long as the government deems necessary. So now we have given the government they want to give the government power to say, we want to hold these children indefinitely. Again, it is up to their discretion. The Flores settlement says, no, we're going to put a limit on that, 20 days. We know you want to keep them longer, but we think that is that is cruel. So we're not going to do that. And Trump wants to waive this. And again, why is that? Well, it's because, and you're not going to be shocked by this, there are giant corporations that want to keep people in prison because they end up making money. Now, let me give you more details and how disastrous that'll be, and how the rules will allow more private prisons to be able to hold immigrants. Now, the rule would also change licensing of the facilities that some of these families will be held in. The proposed regulation would let the government detain families and audit the facility later, and also would declare that any facility that was audited by a third party, doesn't matter who, to make sure it met the standards, would qualify as a licensed facility. So we're just going to, first, we're going to house all these immigrants. We're going to basically imprison them indefinitely, so for as long as we want. And then we're going to decide what facilities they can go into. Oh, and look at that. We have a big for-profit prison industry that is already holding large amounts of immigrants that are here, that are undocumented, that are here illegally. Why not steer more business towards them so they can make more money? The administration is in league with private prisons. They want more people to fill the beds. Well, what's more perfect than asylum seekers and unaccompanied children? They do this because they're gigantic donors. If you didn't know already, follow the money. Look, here's the thing. Corrections Corporation of America was one of the biggest donors to Trump's inauguration. They gave a lot of money, tens of thousands of dollars, to Trump's inauguration party. When Trump won, their stocks had an enormous boom. This is after the Obama administration had put in certain reforms, or had pushed for certain reforms that wanted to tamp down on the private prison industry, and we gave him a lot of credit for that. Here comes Trump, completely reversing that, and actually making sure that private prisons have an even bigger role in interring people. And of course, with this, they get their dream, because now these private prisons are going to get to hold immigrants indefinitely, and they're going to make so much money. Now, here's the thing. Another way that they're going to make money off this is now that they can be licensed as a facility and audited by third parties. Well, that means they can get away with terrible conditions. In fact, we had terrible conditions even before this. And let me give you an example of some of those. We had kids that were, of course, put in cages. Oh, no, they're fences. No, they're cages. Not only that, but there were some places that were giving children psychotropic drugs in order to pacify them. Not only that, but there were people, families in cells that were so cold, they were nicknamed the icebox. These people ended up sleeping on floors and were given an aluminum blanket. These are already terrible conditions. Now we want to make them even worse. But again, that's the whole point. That's the whole plan. They want to discourage people from coming into the United States, and the way that they're going to do it is to treat them so horribly, to dehumanize them so much that they won't want to be here, that they will want to go home. So we're going to treat people, asylum seekers, people running from death, like subhumans, like animals. And if, again, that's not bad enough, the Trump administration is working very, very hard to make it worse. They want to say, oh, no, you don't understand. It's the criminals, or it's the immigrants who are the criminals. It's the immigrants who are the terrible ones. It's the bad ones. Well, maybe they should look in a mirror. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron. at patreon.com/TYTNation.